Hey guys, all right, welcome to the DIY Designer. For those of you that are watching this not live, I'm gonna explain what's going on. I'm basically doing a live DIY. YouTube started this brand new thing called Stations where you can live stream with other people. And before I do that, before I actually collab with someone and bring them in, I thought I would kind of test it out and just do a live DIY. So that's what we're gonna do today. I'm gonna give everyone a couple of minutes to join, those that actually are gonna watch live. I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes to join and get in here, but it's going to be a really fun one. Hi, I am going to, for everyone that is joining live, just so you guys are aware, I am actually going to sort of just run the DIY and explain how to make this project. That way, for those that are coming to this not live and just looking for this DIY, they are able to get everything that they need. They can see it and get out. So I'm not going to really answer any questions right now. I'm just going to get into the project, show you guys how to make it. And then once it's done, I will take any questions from all of you guys. I see all of you joining in and I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you so much. So today what we're going to do is a rhinestone studded platform. I thought it would be really fun. Basically, what I had was this really cool trim, and it's this rhinestone studded trim that comes by the yard. I got it at a place called Target Trimming, and as soon as this live is over, I will edit the description and I will include the links for it. I got this there. I also got this really cool black and white sort of crystal one there. So I have these trims, and originally I bought them for my custom blazers. I don't know if you guys remember that video. I was going to do them around the cuffs, and I used this as like a belt. So I still had the trim. And all of a sudden I was like, that could actually be a really cool hack for sort of studding all along here, which is going to be really fun because not only is it going to save you time, but it is also going to save you money because this is, as you can see, it's multicolored. So if this is something that you wanted to have like multicolor studs around the bottom of your shoe, you would need to be buying packs of all these different colors, and you can't just buy like 5. You have to buy, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like, I think 144 is maybe the smallest you can get. And then it goes up to like 1,144 or something like that. If you guys know, correct me. But it's something like that. So you end up with a lot that you don't need. So I think I'm going to do that on these. Then I also have these guys. And I was like, I've got leftover crystals from, do you guys remember my rhinestone studded denim jacket? I thought this could be very cool, sort of running along these lines. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Materials, you either need gem tack or E6000. You need a gem glue of some sort. When I do fashion, like clothing, I like using gem tack. When I'm doing like jewelry or shoes, I usually use E6000. So I'm going to use the E6000. I see all these comments and I am going to answer everything, but like I said, I want for those of you that actually just are here to watch this DIY, I don't want there to be too much that you're not involved in. Okay, so what I did when I first started was I just took my shoe and I took the trim and sort of like ran the trim all the way around the shoe so that I knew exactly how long to make it. So you can see there, I basically cut it to size. By the way, this Stations thing is mirrored. I don't know why. So I keep trying to go to the right and I'm off to the left. It's very bizarre. Okay, now what I want to do is, this is too thick, right? If you look at the shoe, and this is going to be based off your own shoe, if you look at this, I think that's going to be like kind of a little aggressive. So I'm going to cut it in half. And trims like this are connected by like a mesh. It's not metal. It's connected by mesh. So let me see if I can adjust this. I'm going to loosen it and angle the camera down. I'm using my cell phone right now, so hopefully this works. So here we go. Here is my trim. And I'm basically just with my scissors cutting the mesh that is connecting it together, and I'm cutting it right in half. The good thing about this is that it actually gives me double use out of each yard of trim. So if you just buy 1 yard and cut it in half, you end up with enough, that you could have 2 shoes instead of needing double, which saves us money. So there you go. Now I've got my 2. So now let's take our shoe, and I always like to start in the back. That way, that's where the seam is hidden. To me, that's usually, just in case it's not perfect, I always prefer it to be hidden in the back, or actually you could hide it here in the middle. Maybe that's actually smarter. You know what? Oh my God, and look, you can tell that's what they did. That's always a really good way to figure things out. So right here is a line. You can, I don't know if you guys can see it really well, but this must have just been like whatever this stuff is wrapped around and they glued it. So I'm going to follow them. I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to do this right here. And again, for those of you that came on late, I just want to let you know what I said I was going to do is answer the questions after. That way, anyone who's watching this not live is still able to watch this DIY, get what they need and get out. And then I'm going to go ahead and answer all the questions. So here I'm going to put right in the middle, little bit of my E6000. And anytime you're working like in sections like this, like if you saw my crystal trim, the video that just went live last week, I like working in sections so that it gives it a second to dry. So now I'm coming here, and one thing that I like is that, sorry, it's so weird how it's mirrored. I keep coming like close and going further. So one thing I think would be really cool is to actually see the like jute, or I don't know why I'm like blanking on what this is called, but the jute on either side of the crystal. I think it actually will look really cool. And because this is thick, I'm realizing now that I need a thicker line of glue because I want my edges to be really flat. So I'm going to take that off, and I'm actually going to be putting more glue and on either side of the line that I just did, so that my edges are really, really flat. We don't want it to look like trim. So now I will drop it back on. Clean your fingers as much as needed so that you don't end up getting glue on your crystals, or it will dull those crystals. So you know how it goes. Anytime you're applying crystal trim or fringe or anything like that to anything, you usually have a couple of minutes to finagle it, is the proper technical term. Sorry, coming here. And you just kind of want to move it around until everything feels like it's sitting in the right place. This is when you have that time. So do you see how you can see that little bit of jute on top? It looks really cool, and it looks really cool in person. And I think like when you look at it from the side, that's going to actually look, it makes more sense than covering the entire thing. Hemp, thank you. This is called hemp. Thank you for that. Embadejo 24. Okay, so now this is in place. I would normally leave it a little longer. If I was filming this like a normal DIY, I would go walk, do something else, and then I would come back. But because we're live, I don't want to take that time. So I'm going to lay this down just like this, and I'm going to do my next section. And this one's going to be a little bit larger. Normally, I would be working in smaller sections, but again, we're doing this live, and I don't want to waste too much time since I don't have the ability to speed up or edit. So again, I'm doing 3 lines of glue because I want to make sure all of my edges lay really, really flat. So now take your trim, make sure you're pulling it sort of taut here. And we're just going to follow the line, making sure that you're even with the same amount of hemp, now that I know what I'm saying, on either side of the trim. You just want it to look nice and even. So you can see I'm just kind of moving it, sliding it. You always want to look at it like from above so that you can make sure you've got the even amount on the right and the left. Thank you all for being here. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys. Like, it's still the craziest thing in the world to me that, you know, the channel just hit 300,000, and just the fact that even 10 people come and watch the videos, it means the world. Yes, and I see someone answering that question for me, saying I'm going to answer questions at the end, and that's true. Again, this is going to end up as a DIY that sits on my channel. So for those people who came here just to see the DIY, I don't want them to be too annoyed with me stopping and answering questions. So I'm going to do the DIY, then I'm going to answer all the questions for everyone that's here. Okay, so I just did my glue, right? Same thing. We're going to lay it, pull it nice and taut. Use your fingers to round the edges so that this edge here and here is laying really flat. You don't want it to bow out, or it's just such a giveaway. Oh, I'm seeing that's a really good idea. Wow, you're really killing it today. Mbadejo24, I hope I'm saying it right. You're saying you could use a thumbtack, and that's a fantastic idea. I could use a thumbtack right here. Let's actually see if I have one. I'm going to take you with me to my little bulletin board, and I will grab a little thumbtack and see if that works. That's a good idea. Oh, Rachel, thank you. You just said you love watching me, and I deserve millions of subscribers, and I appreciate that. Okay, so here's this one. I'm going to try that. Put a thumbtack. Boof! Great idea. Okay, so this is where we get a little funky. Do you see this large crystal right there? I can't cut through that. So what I'm gonna need to do is I'm gonna need to cut, well, let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna need to cut just, sorry. It's so weird how it's mirrored. I'm gonna need to cut right here and pull it as tight as I can. And then with some of the extra trim, I will fill in the gap. But that's the one thing to consider with trims like this is because this is a longer stone, we are only really able to work in, I don't know what that is, maybe 3/4 of an inch sections. So that's something that you want to consider when you're buying your trim. So here I am, I'm going to cut the edge, I'll add the glue, and basically that's what I have to fill in. Do you see that tiny spot? What I can do is actually cut off, you know, a row of these guys, and I'll just fill it in. Okay, so now glue, you know the deal. This is normally when I would be fast forwarding and I'd be like, keep going, blah, 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 during my voiceover. You guys know the deal, but we're live, which is actually really fun. Okay, so now I'm gonna pull it super taut. Oh, I'm so close. How annoying is that, you guys? Look how close I am. Fudge. Fudge it to Dern. Name that movie. Fudge it to Dern. Name that movie. You know what? I actually think I might be, nah, you know what? I'm not gonna risk it. I was gonna say I could probably just pull them close enough, but I think I'll just cut one little piece off. Okay. So here we go. We are getting there. Now is the time to really, before everything dries, really take your time to look at, sorry, I keep going the wrong way, to look at everything. Take your time, push it in, double check that things are even, because then you're going to set this one off to dry. And once it dries, you know how strong this glue is. You do not want it to dry like uneven, because at that point, it's no bueno. Okay. I'm going to use the thumbnail or thumbtack trick, which was genius. And I'm going to go ahead and add that little bit once it's dry. Okay, so let me loosen this. Hi. Okay, so these are looking really cool. I think these are going to be awesome with like jeans and a white t-shirt or like a big oversized white button down. So, so fun. Okay, so like I said, double check everything. Now, the process is going to be the same on the other shoe. So I'm not going to show you guys how to do the other shoe because obviously it's an identical process. You really just want to make sure that before you move on to the next shoe, that everything is looking really good. You can always add more glue in areas that aren't laying perfectly flat. So don't worry about that. But you just see here, do you see the weight right now is pulling it down? This is where I need to get, I'm going to go grab another thumbtack. Hold on. Okay, sorry. That thumbtack idea was so good. I'm so glad that that was suggested. So here in the front where it's heavy, I'm gonna put another one. So there we go. Okay, now this is where I was trying to decide. I've got these shoes and I really don't wear them. I've had them in my craft closet because I'm like, there's something cool that can be done with them. You know, I know there is something very cool. So I've got lengths of these trims that I cut. This is the kind of thicker rhinestone. I'm just reading some of these comments. Okay. So this is, maybe you guys can actually suggest one of the options to do is just let it run all along the bottom like that so that it just basically kind of, you know, follows the line and adds this like cool little sequin detail all the way around. The other option is, do you see these lines like this, right? They go in like an arch. I don't know that I can do that now because again, we're live and I don't want this to be like the longest video of all time, but I could wrap it like this and keep going. I'm going to let you guys suggest what you think would be best. Option 1 is just run it around the bottom so that it's just got this like little sparkly bottom every time you walk. The other option is actually follow the sort of like rainbow shape and it would go up, over, and around, up, over, and around. So I'm going to let you guys decide option 1 or 2. Let me know what you think is better. I probably won't do the entire thing because that'll be really long, but I'll get the part started so you guys can see. I'm looking. Option 2, wrap every other line. That's a great idea. Option 2, option 2. Okay, option 2 is the winner. So thank you guys so much for being here. I don't know. Every time I do a live, I go live on Instagram more than I do here, obviously. Every time I do it, I feel like a 5th grader who's having a birthday party and like I'm afraid no one's gonna show up. You know that feeling? And you're like, and you're waiting for the number. But right now there are 450 of you hanging with me, so that's pretty cool. Okay, guys. So right now I am going to apply my glue. I'm gonna do this first one, and I can do just one thin line because obviously this trim is thinner. So now I'm going to take my trim and I can cut it after the fact. So it's no problem. Whereas I cut my bigger one first. Take your trim. And by the way, another thing with this Stations live stream that I'm using is they make you do your phone on vertical. And so my phone feels like it's so far away from me as opposed to being able to be full screen and horizontal. I got to ask them why they do that. It's making it like harder for me to do this. Okay. So basically, we're just going to follow this line. And this one, I don't know if I could use thumbtacks with because this is actually metal. So the backing of this is metal, so it's not the same as the other one, which is like mesh. Okay, you guys seeing? So now I would go up, over, and around the other side. It is actually cool. I'm glad you guys suggested option 2. That's great. Okay. So I'm going to give these a second. I'm going to use this part of my hand as open as possible to hold everything in place while, that didn't work. The only issue with doing a live DIY is I don't have the time to let things sit like I normally would because I can't fast forward. Okay. Well, while I'm waiting for a second here, anyone that has any questions, pop them in right now. I'm going to let this sit for a second and I can answer a couple of questions. And for those of you that are not watching this live, see if the questions are helpful to you. If not, you can just fast forward. I'm looking to see if there's any. Yeah, I'm seeing thumbtack. You know what? I don't think I can do a thumbtack because this entire trim is metal. So I can't really like anchor it down much. Put thumbtack under it. Oh, good idea. Thumbtack under it. Let me go grab one. Okay, I know what you meant. So you're saying like a thumbtack so that it can't fall. You guys really coming through. Thank you. What kind of glue is it? I'm using E6000, although you could go ahead and use Gemtac. But like I said, for fashion stuff like clothing, I like Gemtac. For things like shoes, jewelry, I like E6000. The one benefit to Gemtac, which we all know, is it's not toxic. So like if I'm doing projects with my kids, I always use Gemtac. E6000 is super strong, but it is a little bit toxic. Okay, so I'm dropping this guy on. Let me look at some of those other questions. Sorry. What kind of fabric glue on mesh? Do you mean for seams? Like how to use fabric glue for seams? How well will this hold up in different weather? Great. I've done a ton of shoes and I never have an issue. Nothing ever comes off of the shoes that I do. So it's always good. I'll show you my craft closet after this. It is not organized. It looks like a crazy person. I'm just reading some of these. Question, could you make more turn this into that videos? Yes, I will do that. Thank you for liking those. Those are the ones that I used to do all the time when I lived in Santa Monica. I can like literally see the thumbnail, and I'm standing outside my apartment in Santa Monica before we had a house. And, you know, life was different. Okay, so I'm going to do the last line. And basically what I'm going to do is show you how to do the last line, and then it would be a step and repeat process. So I'm not going to do the whole thing. And then at that point, I will sit down and take questions. I can show my craft closet if you want to see it. So guys, once you get to the end here, lay it down, and you've got to figure out where you're going to need to cut it. So put everything in place, pull it nice and taut, and you can see basically I need to cut it right there. That's the right one. So I'm going to put it down for a second to do that. And, you know, it's really up to you. You just need super sharp scissors. Obviously, you know, in a perfect world, you're not using your fabric scissors for that. You can use like gardening shears. It's metal. So, God, this mirrored situation. I know I keep saying it, but I like keep going the wrong way. Okay, so here we go. We're following the shape. So this is gonna end up looking super cool. And I think someone said do both, option 1 and option 2, and I actually think I'm going to. So I think I might do a combination of what you guys suggested. I'll do every other. So maybe I'll come here now and do the next one, and then I'll do one along the line so it like butts up and it gives this, because otherwise this is sort of hanging out of nowhere. So then I could do one that goes here. Let's see if I can show this. Like this, and it will butt right up to it. Oh my gosh, you guys, they're gonna look good. These are gonna look really cool. I should do these as a giveaway, shouldn't I? Okay. All right, so I'm gonna put these off to dry. I'm checking. These guys are looking really good. Really, really good. Everything is drying evenly. So I'm going to take a look at some of these questions. Let's see. I'd love to see a crafting essentials video. You mean like products, like things that I always need? Let's see. That's so cute. I'm so glad you guys are liking this. This is so fun. I'm waiting to see. Oh, someone asked to see my craft closet. It's not pretty, but I will show you. It's in my daughter's room, because she has this like closet in her room that is, you know, unused. And it's this. I don't know why. See, this is so annoying that I'm like vertical, but not. So there you go. I have in here like, there's all like my glues. Look at all my Fabri-Tac. I like the little bottles of Fabri-Tac because to me, they stay fresh like a lot longer. If your Fabri-Tac ever gets goopy, all you have to do is add some acetone and it'll thin out. But so I've got this. I've got all my like pliers and tweezers. My fabric paints are here. Then these are like random like glitter. I've got lots of like old sweatshirts, jeans, and shoes, things that eventually I'm going to use. And so basically it's just all like random stuff, scraps of fabric you guys can see from my corset. So that's it. This is the situation. It's not really the best, but whatever. Would you ever consider doing a box for your subscribers of DIY projects? You know, that is an amazing idea. The issue I always worry with something like that is so much of what I do is fashion. And so it's like, would I just give you the trims and then you would buy the shoes that fit you? Or would I just give you, you know, the right glues and you would then buy the jeans? Like, that's the only thing, is that it's fashion, so it's specific to your body. No question. I'm just watching from Dubai. Hi, Diva. Thank you. Let's see. I'm just seeing if anyone else has any questions. So I'm going to be letting this one dry. And I think what I'll end up doing is probably take some photos afterwards, and I can do like an updated thumbnail and you guys can see how they all like really came out. Cause I think this is actually going to look really cool. I wish there was a way to like edit a live so I could cut it a little bit tighter and then add in more, but whatevers. How do you manage all your time? Well, I am a big believer in being, this is going to sound awful, but in being selfish. You really need to figure out like what you need. as a person. So I'm a mom, I have 2 kids. So for me, it's really important that I figure out like, what do I need as an individual in order to be happy, in order to be fulfilled, in order to feel passionate about my work, about my life. I know the things that I need. So I really do prioritize those. And I make sure that if I need to hire a sitter to help or ask my brother or my sister to come over to watch the kids so that I can have the time to do whatever it is, like I really do try to prioritize that, because I am not the person who's like a martyr. Like I do not function well in like sacrificing my own well-being. Everything for me, everything falls apart. I really do need to make sure that I'm happy, and then I can make everyone else happy. So for me, that's super important. If any of you guys are moms, by the way, and you don't know, I have a podcast called Momhood. If you just search Momhood wherever you get podcasts, that's a lot of what we talk about is like, if parents are doing good, kids are going to be fine. You really need to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, or everything just starts to fall apart from the inside. So the rhinestone chain from the last shoes, I am going to link everything when this live is done, because I can edit everything on the computer after that. But a place called Target Trimming is one of my favorite places downtown, and they do have a website. So if you go on Target Trimming, well, just Google Target Trimming. I think it's like targettrim.com or something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but they have a ton of trims, and they should have this rainbow one up there, which is really cool. Would you consider making a corset top from scratch? Okay, I would love to. I'm self-taught, so there's a lot of like really technical stuff that I don't know. Like I still watch April, Cool Irpa. I still watch April's videos all the time to try to learn how to do certain sewing things, because I'm completely self-taught. And so there's a lot of like tailoring, pattern making that I do not understand at all. So I wish I could know how to make a corset top. I don't think I'd have that ability. Do you use crafting to help you focus and relax? No. You know what? For me, it's really, again, it's selfish. I just want to make things that I want. Like, I started DIYing because I couldn't afford the stuff that I really loved. I've always loved fashion, and I've always loved like designer runway shows and all that stuff. And that's not within my means at all. So I've always made things that I selfishly want, which is why like I don't really like crafting with my kids, because it's like, what are we going to make? Some like crap out of paper that I'm going to keep on the floor? Like, no. I like making stuff that I'm going to like wear in real life or use in my house in real life. I have DIYs all over my house of furniture that I've made. So to me, that's why I do it. I do it because these are things that I actually want. And I like for my stuff to be like one of a kind. Like the whole tagline on the top of the website was design a one of a kind life. And to me, that's really it. Like, I don't like to be confused with anyone else. I like to stand out on my own and be my own person. And so even if I'm using a trend that's like out there, I like being able to like tweak it and make it my own in some kind of way. I'm scrolling again to see this. Any idea when we're going to start filming Home and Family? We don't know. We're thinking maybe Labor Day weekend we might go back, but we film at Universal Studios, and there's a lot of rules that Universal Studios has that we have to adhere to, in addition to just regular, California state law and Los Angeles County. Universal itself has its own set of things. So I'm hoping we go back to set after Labor Day. I'm looking. Have you ever tried to redesign purses? I've done a few purses on the channel, not many though. I'm like a backpack purse person, and again, because I generally do things selfishly, I'm like, meh. Who cares? Sometimes I do little clutches, like when I have like events to go to. If you guys have ever seen my no-sew red carpet gowns, I always make those because I have these red carpet events for Hallmark. So sometimes I make purses for those, but in general, I'm like a leather backpack person. Do you DIY clothes for your kids? Not really. Sometimes I do. I made like really cute, which if you have kids, oh my God, you have to watch this video. I think it was called like harem pants out of like upcycle harem pants. I took like old men's sweatshirts and t-shirts and made these really cute like drop crotchy pants for kids. That's something that I've made as gifts when my friends have babies. Like I find out where they went to college and I make them little like drop crotch harem pants for their babies that are from their college. Like that is something I'll do because to me that's cool. But other than that, I don't really DIY my kids' clothes too much. Do you have any advice for others who are self-taught and want to make it a career? So Tammy, make it a career in what? Like YouTube as like a content creator, or actually start a business? I'll wait and see an update. Tell me what kind of career you're thinking. Have you ever thought of doing things like furniture glitz DIY? What does that mean? You mean like actually doing what I'm doing, but on furniture? I'm going to wait and see. Furniture too. Yeah, sure. I'll show you some of the furniture that I've made. So this is one thing I made, this acrylic table. So this top of this is completely clear. You can see. I bought a clear from the Container Store, a serving tray, just a clear serving tray. And then I bought these brass legs from Amazon, these little guys, and you can actually see on the top, you see the hardware through it, which is actually kind of pretty, but you then just screw it in. So you need a power drill and you drill holes, like pre-drill holes where the legs are going to go. Then you put the legs in and just screw them in. And it's this really cool, like mid-century modern table that was made out of Container Store. And then I made these on Home and Family a while back too. You come through. My husband's like, so these guys here, this is a little bench that we have right by the front door. We've got one on either side, and it's just simple like wood, and it's got the, the reversible stuff. And I did this a really long time ago when this fabric was like pretty new, and I loved it because I could kind of almost make it look like a cowhide. Like I could play with it, and the kids love it. Everyone like sits here and plays with it. So those are another piece that I made. What else did I do? I have like dressers that I made over and stuff like that. But I'm trying to look around and see if there's anything else that I've done in the house. But those are a couple. They're really fun. I'm looking. So one said, would you ever consider doing an episode of the wardrobe that you've made, how they fit out? I did that. That's actually like the trailer for my channel. If you go on my channel, the trailer is like what I wear and what I don't. And I go through and say like what lasted and what didn't. So I did that one probably about 5 months ago. So I could probably do a new one. What sewing machine do you recommend? So I would say I have a Bernina and I bought it used when I was 15. I'm 35. So it lasts and it's my favorite machine, but they are expensive. So a good starting machine is a brand called, I don't know if it's Janome or Janome, but it's Janome. They have them on Amazon. We have one on set that we bought. It was like the Magnolia, like Janome Magnolia. And I think it was only like $120. So still it's a sewing machine. It's still an investment, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not actually that pricey. And it worked really well. And it's great for beginners. If you're going to be doing heavy duty stuff like leathers and denims, you're going to want something more legit probably. But that's a great starting machine. Do you make plans on having more kids? I don't think we're having more kids. We went back and forth I went back and forth for a long time, but I think I'm done. How do you find your project ideas? So for me personally, I really like to peruse the interwebs. So I'll be on like Instagram, I'll be on Pinterest, and just like look at things that I would want in my life. And really, again, it's like, if I had the money to buy that, would I? Cool. Do I have the money? No. So I'm going to make it. Like, that's sort of my like thought process. I don't really follow too many of the like, what's trending, meaning like YouTube wise. Like I get an email that's like trending topics on YouTube and I'm just like, what are these? It'll be like, my dog does my makeup. And I'm like, why is this a trending topic? So I generally ignore most of those trending topics. It'll be like a new album comes out and everyone does like a DIY based off the album art or something. I don't do that stuff too much because really it's about, again, what do I want to wear in my regular life? And that's how I get the ideas. Do you work in other mediums besides fashion? So I would say home decor and fashion. I work on a TV show called Home and Family where I do their home decor and their fashion. I have a podcast called Momhood, which is a podcast for moms, which is really, really cool. And I think super important. It's all about like, don't compare yourself to anyone else. Do what works for you. There's no right way. And we do awesome interviews. It's great. That's kind of the main focus where I'm in. And I'm super focused on producing. So I've been working with talent that's not me to produce show ideas for them. I have 2 shows that are out being shopped right now, which is very cool. Hopefully one day soon I will be like, guys, I sold my first show. But that's really awesome. Do you have any tips on starting a YouTube channel, a DIY YouTube channel? So the best advice I got was it is all about consistency. And that is the truth. Like you are not going to grow if you do not have the ability to release a video at least every week. It's just not going to happen. People need to know and get into a habit of knowing that you can release a video, that they can come to you. People get a little, and I don't mean people, I mean like human beings like me and included, get annoyed when I like go to someone's channel to check in and there's nothing there. I fall out of habit and I stop doing that. And the next thing you know, I don't watch that person's videos anymore. So number one, most important thing is consistency. And number two is just start. You don't need a fancy camera. You don't need fancy lights. Like I'll show you, this is the camera that I use. So prior to COVID, my brother usually shoots everything for me. And he's a videographer. So he has like beautiful cameras and everything looks like polished and fancy. But during COVID and since March, I've been filming everything myself. This is the camera that I have. It's a Canon M50, I think. EOS M50. I got an extra lens that's a wide angle lens. It just gives me a little bit more space so that the camera doesn't have to be so far away from me. And it's got the little flip out thing, which is important because if you're shooting yourself, you need to make sure you're in frame. You need to be able to see yourself. This is what I have. I've got nothing of a tripod. And then I got these two softbox lights, which just like flood the space with light. It's not anything, super legit. It just kind of floods the whole room with light. In the description, I'll put some of this stuff too, but you just don't need anything fancy. You don't even need this stuff. Your cell phone and some natural light. That's it. Make sure that you are thinking about the people that are watching your video. Make sure that you're being really clear about your directions so that people are actually learning from them. Be transparent about your mistakes so that they can learn from them. Because what you don't want to happen is that one of the things that drives me nuts is that stuff like 5-minute, what's it called? Like 5-minute DIY. What's that brand? Or like Blossom. All those things that will like aggregate content and they're all over Instagram. And they do those super quick, like overhead DIYs. 90% of the times those aren't legit. And it drives me nuts because then people go, they buy the materials, they spend their time, they do it and it doesn't work. So like if you're going to do it, make sure that you're really, really teaching people so that when they do it, they actually end up with something that works. So consistency, you don't get caught up on fancy equipment, and make sure that you're really thinking about the people that are watching so that they're actually going to be able to do this by the time your DIY is done. I'm seeing a lot of like, can you do DIY on furniture? Yes. Every time I put up a home decor DIY, it like tanks. So if you guys will watch them, I'll do them. But I feel like I put them up and they don't perform. Husband held captive by live stream. He really is. I'm just looking for more questions. And then I think I'll probably pop off in 5 minutes because I want you guys to get back with your life. So Tammy, I've been overlooked by jobs because I'm self-taught, and then the ones who get hired come to me for help because I know how to do it and they don't. So this is what I think. I think you have to really own that you're self-taught and own that you don't, like, to me, what I think the benefit of being self-taught is that you don't think inside of a box, right? Like when people go to school, good example. When I was 19, I moved to New York and I went to film school for directing. I went in with all of my own ideas and creative inspirations and styles and ways of doing things. And I felt like by the time I got out, it produced 100 clones who all thought the same directors were genius and the same style was cool. And this is how you shoot it. And this is how you light it. Like it took away all of our individuality. And I think that can happen sometimes in schools that are creative, in a creative field. So I think really what you should do is say, I am self-taught, which means I'm going to think outside of the box because frankly, I don't even know what the box looks like. So you're going to be getting ideas from me that you're not getting from anybody else. You're going to be getting techniques from me that have been created through trial and error and really coming up with the smartest way of doing it, not because a teacher taught it to a teacher, taught it to a teacher. This is new, fresh, innovative thought. To me, if you really own that and you really sell that, people are going to be like, fuck yeah. Yes, let's hire Tammy. So I think it's a matter of knowing what you think might be your disadvantage and figuring out how to turn it into your advantage because it is an advantage. It really is. I'm self-taught. And to me, I think that's part of the reason why some of my projects are so much easier because it's like, I didn't know the right way. I just was like, will this work? And I'm like, oh my God, this works, So it's an asset. Think of it as an asset. I'm reading more. Sorry, quiet. I'm quiet while I'm reading. What other DIY YouTubers do you watch? I love April from Cool Urpa. I love Blueprint DIY. She and I did a collab together. So did April and I. I love with Wendy. She's so talented. Did you guys see that video that she did where she shows people, they sent her photos of what they wanted her to DIY and she went into Photoshop and like photoshopped out what she thinks they should make? Oh my God. She's really talented. I think Amber is one of the funny, like I get such a kick out of her. I'm just so inspired by her, like owning all of her ridiculousness. Like she is to me such a riot. I love her. I think she's really talented and really funny and a really good inspiration for how you can like own who you are, be unapologetic and just freaking soar. To me, she's such a badass. When did you start doing this? So I started DIYing when I was a kid. My mom had 2 sewing machines in her office and I would just buy clothing at thrift stores and stuff. And I would go upstairs and just like make them fit me better. Like that was how it all started. And then when I was in high school, I started a clothing line that was upcycled, like reconstructed vintage clothing. And I sold it to a celebrity owned boutique in LA. And that was really fun. And then I moved to New York and then that's when I did that show Fashion Star on NBC and all that stuff. You know what? Are you going to show us how you decorate your home for Halloween? I am such a Scrooge when it comes to Halloween. I cannot stand Halloween and I don't decorate my house. I'm so sorry. How do you craft without your kids asking for you help nonstop? So because this is my job, I'm able to be like, I'm working, guys. I can't talk right now. If I need to right now, since we're quarantined and everyone is home, I'll just put a show on for them. And I'm like, guys, watch TV. I need an hour. I'm working. So I make it really clear when I'm working that I need quiet. I need space. They can't come in whenever they want. So my kids know that. So I think because it's my job, they respect it more than if like I was just doing it for fun when they would be like, hey, you know, it's like I'm able to create like a structure, which really works for me. Important tips for starting a YouTube channel: get a thick skin. Yeah, you gotta have a sense of humor with those negative comments. You really do. Like if I see a really mean comment, I usually will engage and joke back with them, which generally really annoys them because they wanted me to be like, and I'm just like, oh my God, I am a whore. You're right. You know, whatever. You gotta have a thick skin, and you gotta know these people. They don't really mean it. They don't really care. They're literally like popping around, just like, you know, toxic bombing everybody. Ignore it. Don't even worry about that stuff. I have a small craft business, but I can make a lot of things. Do you recommend focusing on one thing like fashion items? You know, as far as a business is concerned, I wish I had the answer for that. I don't really know because, like I said, I just make the things that I love, and I'm lucky enough that you guys will come here and watch these videos. And so, you know, I've like lucked out in that way. If it was a business, I don't know that I have the answer to that. I mean, I think in general, being niche is good. It allows you to really like own a space. So I feel like that's normally the case, is the more niche you are, the better, but I don't know for sure. Let's see. Any new DIY collabs coming? Nothing yet, and I really want to do some. That's actually what this thing is. So right now it looks like I'm just live on YouTube, but I'm using a platform called Stations, which is something that YouTube just released in beta to a handful of YouTubers. And it allows me to send an invite link via text or DM or email to someone else who can join me, and we would be live together. So it's really meant for collabs. So I really, really want to do another collab. I was thinking about trying to badger April to do you guys know that brand called Love Shack Fancy? Oh my God. It's so beautiful and it's so expensive. And I was like, maybe April and I could each do our own take on a Love Shack Fancy piece. Would be so fun. I'll do like something that I have the means to do, and she'll do something incredible because she can make patterns like a whiz. Oh my God, okay. You know what's so funny? So have you done crafts with hats? This is what today's was supposed to be. It was actually the Love Shack Fancy inspired, and I made this floral hat, but I didn't like the way it came out. So that's why I did the shoes instead. But it's like, I'm going to see if I can come up with a better way to make it, because they have these really cool floral hats. But I generally don't do hats, but I literally just did this yesterday, and when I was testing it, I'm like, I don't love it. Oh, if I may, I would suggest you make your videos a little longer, maybe 10 to 15 minutes. I always feel like I need to keep them tight, but that's a nice suggestion. Maybe I will do that. I'm just seeing if there's any more questions. Oh my God, Surferess, you're so funny. Well, I stand corrected. Surferess was saying that maybe the question from Tammy about her career wasn't the right platform, but then I answered it. So I was like, well, I stand corrected. Maybe this is the correct channel. So Jennifer Wilson, where do you get your trimming? I usually go downtown because again, I want to like see in person. Sometimes I need to like line things up and be like, will this fit? Will this not fit? So I'm lucky enough to live in Los Angeles. I can go to the fashion district downtown and buy trims there. What I generally try to do though is only go to stores that sell online so that I can tell you guys the exact trim and you can link it. So Target Trim is one of the ones that I got all the trims today. They generally have their stuff online and I will reach out to them to see if they can put these online if they don't have them. It's a great store. I love it. If you live in the LA area, it is on 9th between Maple and San Pedro. And it's fantastic. They have like walls and walls of stuff. It's so cool. I agree about art school. Self-taught is the way to go. I personally agree. I think internships, learn from experience, get to work. To me, that's the biggest benefit because what I've realized working in television is that no one gives a hoot about if you went to school or where you went to school. The only thing that's going to give you is it's going to give you potential connections because those friends went off to do great things and they can bring you in. But if you can just start working, start interning, start getting a job, start hustling, start doing whatever it is you want to do on a regular basis, the quality of your work is more important than where you went to school. It's just not going to matter in a creative field. So I'm a big believer in that. Who is Amber you were talking about? So I'm hoping I'm not going to butcher her last name. I don't know if it's Scholl or Scholl. Scholl. Amber Scholl. She's just a riot to me. Ooh, and while I'm at it, Amber Kemp. Amber Kemp is another amazing one. She's mainly on Instagram though. I would pull up my phone right now. But Amber Kemp, look her up. She's fantastic. And she's pregnant right now. And everything's like rainbows. And she's got this like belly on top of everything rainbow. She's so freaking cute. And she's a good friend. What's your next project? I don't know. I don't know. I'm like really last minute lately. So can you do a collab with Ken? Oh my God. So for those of you that don't know, Ken Wingard is on Home and Family with me. He is one of my best friends, one of my most favorite people, and he lives in San Francisco. So maybe I could bring him on here and we could do a live together because man, that guy is so talented and so funny. Janessa, I keep seeing the comment about have you done crafts with hats, but I'm hoping it answered. I'm trying to go through all of these. So, okay, I'm scrolling. Sorry, guys. All right, I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom real quick. Okay. Guys, I think I'm going to let you all go. Thank you so much for watching this. I'm just going to do a quick little recap. Here are these shoes right here. Again, the most important thing is to cut your trim to a size that's going to be flattering for your particular shoe. So you want to make sure that when you put it on, you kind of want to stand in front of a mirror and see like, is more or less the way to go? Is it flattering? Is it not? So you want to check that out. And then you can always cut your trim to size. I could have cut it even smaller than this, but I think this is kind of a nice compromise. I'm going to finish off the last one. Be creative. Like I said, right here, these guys, it was not long enough to add another one of these long crystals, but it was too small to not. So I'm just going to be able to fill in the gap with a couple of vertical pieces. So don't worry, just be creative, creative solutions. For this one, I'm going to go every other. So I'll skip, I'll then go to this one right here. I'll then go to this one. So it'll have this really cool rainbow effect and one all the way across the bottom. And that's really just a matter of taking your time. The tips that I got for the thumbtacks was genius. Really, I mean, freaking genius. I don't even know what to say about that. So thank you for that. And that's it, guys. This is going to be on my channel, but I'm going to take photos and I'll edit descriptions and I'll put up thumbnails with all the stuff that we talked about. So thank you so much for being with me and doing this. I can't tell you, I know I always say like, thanks for being here. I'm so glad you're here. See you guys next week. But you really have no idea how much it means to me. that you guys are here. I really appreciate it. So I love you guys. Thank you. I hope you have a beautiful weekend, and I'll see you next Friday. And just if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments.